What's up YouTube? Capital G here. Got a couple of very explosive duels for you guys to check out. This first one's going to be really fun as we've got a zombie vampire build down at the bottom. I'm just going to call it vampires because the vampire archetype is, zombie based anyway, so it's a little redundant to call it a zombie deck. And it's going to be dueling against fairly standard Salamangreats, although he is running cards like Salamangreat Mole. It can still be a pretty fun card. A free pot of avarice from the graveyard, essentially. Pretty strong card. Let's see what happens here. I would definitely have to give the edge to Salamangreats, although Nibiru historically has kind of destroyed Salamangreats, so maybe you could say, depending on if Nibiru resolves or not, maybe the vampire guy can hang in here. He's going to go with Zombie World, which is such a strong card against Salamangreats, mainly because they cannot link summon into Banelinks while this card is on the field. If you can't go for Banelinks, it's just really difficult with Salamangreat to kind of get off the ground, but he does luckily have he has Signet Mining, and Signet Mining can get him where he needs to go. Now, he's going to activate his Vampire Awakening that lets him summon a vampire from the deck. Familiar, the little bat dude, is basically like Stratos for the archetype. I was a little surprised by the way this play kind of went, mainly because he's going to let him get Gazelle. Now, the thing is, he has Vampire Domination, which is an Infernity Barrier for the archetype. I was shocked that he didn't just negate the Gazelle's effect with this. That was a little weird to me. Like, usually Gazelle is a card that you kind of sell out to stop. He also let him use Salamangreat Foxy from the graveyard. He could have used Domination on that because, again, Zombie World kind of like wrecked Salamangreats. I just think the whole way it played out was kind of just weird to me. Anyways, Mirage Stallion is going to be the card that he finally is going to use the domination on, and he will actually gain some life points. He special summons Mole, and then he's going to bounce it with Falco, so at least he gets to keep his Mole. Mind Control, and then his opponent says, not so fast, my friend. I'm going to drop Nibiru on your face. So, yeah, the vampire guy is actually hanging in here. He will discard one of his vampires from hand to get the familiar back from the graveyard. Obviously, familiar will give him another surge, and it looks like he's in pretty good position. He has another copy of his Infernity Barrier, so right now it's looking like he can probably win this duel. I mean, how many Infernity Barriers can you really play through? Salamangreat players are ones to definitely use their Infernity Barrier in Salamangreat Roar, but yeah, he's definitely doing some work. Once again, Foxy is going to pop a card. He did not use domination on that. Must be looking for something a little better. He uses it on, I believe that was Jack Jaguar. These are some questionable Infernity Barrier negates. I'm just going to say that. Roar is going to set itself from the graveyard. He will lose a monster in battle, but that's fine. He still has two big monsters on field, and he is going to start attacking. He will use the Vampire Frowlin in hand, and when he does that, his opponent says, nah, I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to use my Roar. That means he can activate his third domination, the third Infernity Barrier, shut down the Roar, and Frowlin will be used. If you destroy something while she's face up, don't forget that you get the Monster Reborn, one of your opponent's monsters, so he's going to do that, and it looks like he should be able to win this duel. I mean, seriously, what does the Salamangreat deck have at its disposal right now? 0 cards from what I could tell, from what I can count anyways. He has Sanctuary, I guess that's 1 card. He is going to draw a card off of Vampire Sucker. Just a nice little icing on the cake, and he gets Zombie World as well, but don't forget about the freaking copy of Salamangreat Mole. When I first started playing Salamangreats, I used to love this card so much. I know that, they got taken out of the deck because it just wasn't as good, but some of these other Salamangreat cards that don't see play are like some of the most fun ones. He's going to activate the effect, shuffle back 5 Salamangreats, including Gazelle to draw 2, and look at what he gets. He gets some good cards, including a Salamangreat monster, so that he can activate Foxy, or I guess any card. Sea Archiver is going to be used. Now he can get Gazelle right back. And is this doable? That's the question you have to ask yourself, because I feel like vampires have been kicking Salamangreat's ass the entire time. I think this is doable, especially with that mind control there. He's gonna go for the Pyro Phoenix, and then he says Super Rejuvenation, Tensei Link Shogun. He's gonna summon it once again. nuke his opponent's entire board, and he gets the roar back in the process. Roar is such a ridiculous card. An Infernity Barrier that can reset itself from the graveyard. That's good card design, Konami. Kappa. Anyways, he is going to use the roar when his opponent activates the Vampire Awakening, and yeah, it's pretty much a wrap now. All he had to do was use the Mind Controller to take his opponent's face down monster, and it is a GG. You can argue the Vampire guy probably threw that game multiple times. I think, like, number one, I don't understand him not using domination on Gazelle. I feel like he probably just would have won the duel because, you know, Zombie World is kind of a win condition against Salamangreats. Like, you keep Zombie World on the field, they can't make Balinks, and you can just kind of, like, wreck them. But he didn't go for that, and I thought that was a little weird. Anyway, second duel should be even quicker than the first. We got Mathmex, and they're going to be doing against Cubics. This is a duel where the over-under should probably be 1 point, or probably like 2.5 turns, because both of these decks want to kill you in their first turn. If you go into like turn 3 against Cubics or Mathmex, that's considered a long duel against those decks because they're not looking to go more than just a couple of turns, in all honesty. Anyways, both of these decks want to go second, and that sucks for the player going first. He's just going to make the Mathmech level 8 Synchro, which is definitely not the one you want to make by itself. If you're going to make a Synchro and put it out there naked on the field, you want the level 12 because it's unaffected by all other effects as long as it's in the extra monster zone, except Mathmech cards. So yeah, you don't want to summon this one by itself. And Cubics are gonna, you know, they're gonna take the opportunity, dump the Karma into the graveyard that will get hit by Ash Blossom, but he says, no problem, Cap G. I'm gonna drop my Lord onto the field, and he's also going to use Cubic Wave. That's going to double this guy's attack, and it's going to cut his opponent's monster in half. Honestly, I was like, all right, I guess the duel's over, because I mean, he clearly is going to run over this guy. He's going to do almost 5,000 damage, and this guy can attack twice, plus he does 3,000 burn damage during the end phase. So I was like, all right, well, that's a quick duel. I mean, I guess that's how Cubics roll, man. One turn, one shot your opponent. GG, no re. He will get a surge, but this is going to save him. Gonna activate the Mathmech super factual. What is that name? That lets him go into the Mathmech Trishula type card. Even though he can't actually out the Nova with his Mathmech XC, at least he can block an attack. So that's kind of good. Now, during the end phase, he did take 3,000 burn damage. They both do. And, you know, he's still in the game. So at least there's that. If you do kill this card, maybe he can get back in the game, but it is 6,000 attack. He can probably find a way if he uses multiplier. He's going to go into that 12, and he is going to give this guy double its attack. This means it's 6,000. You don't usually see 6,000 monsters attacking into 6,000 monsters, but hey, on this channel, anything is possible. Mathematician going to dump one of those Mathmex into the graveyard. 6,000 into 6,000 clash. They both fall. I think Vijam just going to put itself into the back row, and that's about it. He will summon it, and this is where his hand starts kind of bricking. Called by the Grave, not really doing anything against Mathmex. Also, he did use Fusion Conscription to get another copy of the Cubic Lord, but what is that on? It doesn't do anything if it's the only card in your hand. Like, you don't really have like a way of actually summoning it, and I feel like Mathmex might be able to potentially find a way to do this. Let's see if he can. He's going to activate, oh my goodness, goes for multiplier again. Synchro summon for 7, and wouldn't you know, this Cyberse Quantum Dragon, which is a card that doesn't really see that much play, it does have 5,000 attack. Keep in mind, this guy can bounce a monster, then attack again, and he does exactly lethal damage, exactly the 5,000 needed to win the duel. 250 life point comeback isn't as good as 100 because that's what's you know, generally in the anime, but definitely respectable. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the short duels. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.